All right, we're back with the third video in the Power Prospecting 5x5 system. Now, we're going to be talking about kind of the purpose of the call today. Remember, in video one, we actually talked about getting your list and your data correct, right? Number two was all about how we're going to set up the actual system to call. By this point, we've got our list, we've got our system, and now we're actually ready to pick up the phone and start making phone calls. So that's where we are right now. We're talking about the purpose and the script. So there's three things that we want to focus on here. So let's dive into these three things and talk about purpose and script. All right, so number one is the actual purpose. Purpose. All right, you have to have a purpose for every call. Right? If you're calling, and remember we're talking about calling top producing agents here. If you're calling a top producing agent just to kind of chit chat, or you're calling them and from the start there's like uncertainty in why you're calling them, they're probably going to hang up on you or just make it very brief, and it's really going to break your confidence, right? So you need to be able to have a high level conversation with them, and their natural instinct may be to kind of shut you down very soon. This is where you're going to have to increase your skill to block that first kind of shutdown and keep the conversation going. So think about this. Top producing real estate agents are used to this. They became top producing agents because they have skill in script and overcoming objections, right? So when a top producing agent is calling for sale by owners or an expired listing, or if they're on a listing presentation, like their job is to overcome objections and actually get the business. So they understand what this is all about, and this is where you can have more of a peer-to-peer relationship than a vendor-to-peer relationship, right? So number one is you got to have a purpose, right? And the first thing is you got to be clear about the call, right? Hey, I'm calling you today about bam, whatever it is, right? You're clear about the call, right? One is you want to kind of make sense with what the call is, and you want to call kind of a group of people with the same purpose in the call. If I'm calling one person with one purpose and another person with another purpose, and then the third call a different purpose, like I'm bouncing around in my thinking, right? So if I want to call, let's say I'm going to call 25 or 30 agents right now, I want to call all of them with the exact same purpose, with the exact same like clear message, because it helps to keep my brain in focus with what I'm talking to them about. One thing that's important to understand is that most of the time, if you're trying to convey something to somebody else, like in this case, like a real estate agent, there may only be about 4 to 5 objections that they have about doing business with you, about meeting with you. We think that it's like 100 different objections, but it's really not, right? And I learned this as being a top producing real estate agent. I got really good at converting for sale by owners. So I would call for sale by owners, and my job was to get an appointment with them, go over to their house, and list their house. And starting off, it was kind of like, I'd have to call a lot of people just to get an appointment, and then I had to go on, like, if I went on 10 appointments, I was lucky to get 1 or 2, listings, right? But what happened is, all of a sudden, I got really good at, working with for sale by owners, and so I would have to call, a much smaller sampling to get much more appointments, and it got to the point that almost 9 out of 10 appointments, I was walking out with a signed listing agreement, because I learned that they didn't have 100 different objections. They typically had maybe 3 to 4, maybe 5 objections, right? Just a few objections. And I learned how to overcome those objections. So they said, hey, we're thinking of, selling it because we want to save money. Bam, I had my objection. Hey, like, the last agent we worked with didn't do a good job, so we're going to sell it ourselves. Bam, I had my objection, right? So objection handler, at least, they brought the objection. But what happens is they bring an objection to you, and you have the objection handler ready to kind of get them to move forward with you. We're talking about the exact same thing here, right? So it's not reinventing the wheel. All it's understanding is like, okay, what are the few objections that a real estate agent would have to meeting with you, and then how are you going to handle those objections and move forward, okay? So number 2 is kind of how to convey the message, okay? So how are we going to convey the message, right? Number 1 is have a script, okay? Now you may say, like, okay, Dirk, I'm not really a script person. Like, I just kind of like, I feel like scripts are mechanical, and I just like to kind of let things flow. You're going to suck at prospecting if you're just letting things flow. Like, I'm just telling you right now. okay? Because you're going to keep talking when you need to be quiet. You're not going to ask the right questions when you need to ask. You're not going to have the right objection handlers, and you're going to go kind of entrepreneurially into a conversation with somebody that is a highly trained sales professional. It's not going to be a great outcome for you, right? It may work some of the times with certain types of agents, but again, here we're going for numbers. We're going to convert a lot of people to do business with you. So use a script, okay? So that's number 2. That's number 1, have a script. Number 2 is use the script. Just because you have a script, like I've seen people that have like 4 or 5 great scripts and then they still try to just kind of talk their way through the phone call. Use the script, right? You have one, use the script, right? Number 3, stay on script. Okay, see this? Number 2 is all about the script. You've got a script, you're going to use the script, and you're going to stay on script, because sometimes what happens is they go off of script and now you're wanting to talk about your kids or your grandkids or your deer hunting experience or whatever it is. Like, stay on script. These are short calls that are designed to get you an appointment. Like, just have that mindset. You want to be on the phone with them for anywhere from like 2 to 3, maybe 5 minutes, and you want to get out and you want to set the appointment. What'll happen is, if you're on the phone for 10 or 15 minutes with them, what'll happen is next time you call them, they won't answer because they don't want to be on the phone with you for 15 minutes. Keep these calls short. You're getting in there to convey some kind of value and get a meeting with them. Okay, cool. Third, you gotta convey benefits and values. Okay, benefits and values, right? And again, you guys have, like, my handwriting is kind of sloppy, but you guys have this resource. This is the S3 slide on the 5x5 system, okay? Make sure that they understand the benefit. The benefit. Okay, so here's the thing, right? There are values and then there are benefits of values. Like, the value is, hey, we're a highly trained professional inspection company that uses high-level technology, right? Okay, that's the value. What's the benefit? The benefit is that we're going to save you time, effort, and energy in every single transaction that you do. You guys get that? A lot of times we just want to talk about the values, like, hey, we're the greatest inspection company in the history of the world, and they don't get what that means for them, right? So number 1, when it comes to talking about benefits and values, number 1, stay on topic. Stay on topic. Number 2, be precise and short, okay? Again, this is a short call. Sorry, you probably can't even see what that says. It says be precise and short. This is a short call. It's not a long call. You want to get on topic of what the benefit is to them. You want to state that benefit, and you want to be precise and short with this, that they kind of see, like, hey, there's a reason that I should meet with you, right? Because you're asking for the time, the one-on-one time of a really busy, top-producing agent here. Now, if you don't have any benefit to that, there's a hard chance, like, they may do business with you because they've heard about you, or because they like you, or because you sound great on the phone, or something like that. But most of the time, they will meet with you if they believe there's a benefit for them to meet with you, right? If you're getting this, like, all the time, like, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, all you're doing is you're failing to convey value. You're failing to convey the value for them and the benefit of that value, right? So we've actually developed kind of an initial kind of starter script that we use, and you've got the script in your resource section. And we're going to be working on building more scripts. So, I mean, our vision is to kind of have a library of scripts, so where you've got maybe like 10, 15, 20 scripts on different ways to convey value. Now, here's the most important thing to convey value is convey value on one thing, right? We think that when we're on the phone with somebody, we got to say, oh, we do this and like by the 5th thing that we're talking about, like, their brain just shuts down. They're like, oh, I got to go, okay? If you look at really great advertising, right? If we look at like companies like Target, they have like 10,000 things in their store, but when they have a commercial, they only display like one thing, right? McDonald's is the same way. Like, McDonald's has like an entire menu, but when a McDonald's commercial comes on, it's one thing. Like, think about a company like Apple, right? Think about an Apple ad, right? They got all this technology and all this stuff, and they got like the phone that can do like 10,000 different things, but they usually focus on like one thing, like one product and one feature of the product. because they know that they need to show you that over and over and over and over for that to stick in your mind that, hey, this is the value and the benefit of this, right? This is the thing that they do. So very common for home inspectors, and a lot of like even like top companies that we've talked to, they said, man, we're guilty of this. Like we get in front of a room of people and we say, oh, we do this and this and this and this and this, and like instead of just saying like, hey guys, we want to talk about one of the things that we do, and this is what we do. We talk about it going deeper. We really show the value of it and the benefit of what we do. When you're on this call, that's what you're doing. You're honing in on kind of one thing, and you may be calling like that whole list of like top producing agents, whether it's like 400 agents or 1,000 agents, and you're talking to them about that one thing. And you may be calling back in the future and you're talking about that one thing again, in the future and that one thing again. Like you got to talk about that one thing until you're blue in the face. Then you go to the next thing. Hey, I want to talk to you about this now. And what will happen is people start kind of really getting like, hey, this company's really good at that, and then they're really good at this. Instead of like saying, hey, we do all these 10 things on this phone call, they'll just shut you down. They're like, hey, I don't have time for that, because it's just overwhelming. So again, when it comes to calling them, you've got a purpose. You got to be really clear about the purpose. You're using a script and you're focusing on the value and benefits of one thing to get the appointment, right? That's what we're going after here, is we're going to get the appointment. That's what we're focusing. If we can't get the appointment, we want to deliver value and let them know like, hey, we're going to be getting back in contact with you. We really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much, right? But your goal here, your success is like, hey, how many appointments did you get? Okay, so that's what we're focused on right now, is just the why. You want to get really clear. Again, practice this call. You got to script practice. You got to practice this call maybe 8, 9, 10 times before you actually go live with somebody. So get somebody else in your company, practice with them. Get another IEB company, call another company up and script practice in the morning. Get your growth people to script practice with them. Like top producing real estate agents do this all the time. Like I used to have, when I was a top producing agent, I used to have other agents in different like, even like time zones where I could start script practicing like, pretty early before I started doing my calls. When I was a team leader and CEO with Keller Williams, I would call other great top CEOs with Keller Williams, and we would script practice before we start recruiting agents every day, right? So just think about like, if we're doing it at that high level, like you guys need to be doing it as well for like calling these people and setting appointments with them. Practice before you go live on the call. It will give you confidence, right? So we're going to talk about like standards and expectations next, but make sure that you're kind of clear on this, like what's the purpose, using the script and knowing the script, and then sticking to a short, concise call where you're stating the benefits, the values and the benefits. So really excited about you guys putting your systems together, and we're going to go to the next video after this.
Just pause this if you need to in order to read these notes.